opening round of the championship, the crowded grid had to funnel its way through the first corner. Battles raged on right the way through the opening stint. For some, it was just too unbearable, as the battles were certainly fierce, and when Giacomo Petrobelli got into the back of Andy Merrick on more than one occasion, Bentleys went leaping off the track, Ferraris suffered damage. Marco Seifried's green Ferrari did a good job to work its way through traffic. Alvaro Parent built up the lead early on. An early casualty was the number 18 Black Falcon Mercedes that put itself off the road when being driven by Michael Loboda. Battles were going on track, and Marco Seifried was just a star in the first hour as he worked his way up through the field. There was drama though for Phil Quaife, who found himself squeezed off the road, and worse was to come a bit later when his car suffered damage. Eventually, Petrobelli got himself up past the Bentley of Andy Merrick, ran wide at the first chicane, and Andy Merrick fought back. Then it was time for Edward Sandstrom to make a move. He pounced and found a way past. Kevin Est, and the McLaren was right there as well, and he and Merrick leant on each other going down to the first chicane, and once through, the McLaren was able to pull away. Not so lucky was James Nash, who got harpooned by Phil Quaife going into the first chicane. Neither car was able to get to the finish. Hubert Hout muscled out of the way the Audi in the hands of Ian Loggy, and then Kevin Est and Giacomo Petrobelli came to grief at the chicane. Damage to both cars continued, albeit out of the race after its pit stop would be the Ferrari. Nick Katzberg hit Lucas Wolf, had a puncture, went through the gravel, brought the gravel onto the road with him, nearly wiped out the Mercedes again. And meantime, Vadim Kogai, having taken over from Marco Seifried, went off again, and again, and again. The 333 Ferrari was a focal point of the middle hour of the race, being involved in a fair few dramas. This wasn't the last of them. It dug itself out of the gravel, even though it was nearly wiped out by the Gentleman Trophy WRT Audi. Good battle in Pro-Am, which put Simon Knapp ahead in the Ferrari, although ultimately they were heading for second in the class. Stefano Ortelli made a mistake at the chicane, hopped off and hopped back onto the road as the Gregoire de Moustier McLaren continued to build its lead, ready to be given over to Alex Premat. When Andy Soucek took over 99 McLaren, he was on target for third. Max Buch made a tiny error in the Mercedes. He was on target for fifth place come the very end. Francesco Castellacci, though, started to really charge in Pro-Am in the final hour. He unlapped himself from the leader and then hunted down Sonvico's Ferrari for second place, as with 10 minutes to go, Chris Jones lost his Audi coming out of the Parabolica and backed it into the wall. Laurens Vanthoor got himself onto the back of the third-place McLaren, but try as he might, he couldn't find a way through. And that meant that ultimately the checkered flag would be waved at the winning McLaren of Alvaro Parent, Gregoire de Moustier and Alex Premat, victorious in the opening round of the Blancpaine Endurance Series at Monza. A great way to start the season. The next stop is Silverstone at the end of May. From Jack Nicholls, John Watson and David Addison, it's goodbye from Monza.